Hey guys, chapter 4.2, buying a home. So when you buy a home, many times you're not going to just have the upfront money to say, okay, hey, I got 180 grand, I'm going to plunk it down in this home and now it's mine. You got to borrow money. So they have a banker's rule to help the bank decide how much you can afford on a home. A lot of people usually don't know how much they could afford, so they go to the bank and they trust the bank that they would know. And actually, that's how the housing crisis in the United States started, because the banks were lending too much money, and people got in debt and they had lost their home. So the banker's rule is essentially you're going to take your annual income and you're going to multiply that by 2.5, and then you would find out how much you can borrow. So here it says use the banker's rule to find the amount that you may borrow for the annual income. So each one of these is the annual income. So using the banker's rule, you just multiply each one by 2.5. So if you make $26,000 a year, you can multiply that by 2.5. 26,000 times 2.5. That means you could buy a house that costs $65,000. Okay, so the next exercise, exercise B, you have says find the amount that may be borrowed for each of these hourly wages. So the amount of hours that you work in a year is 2,080. Okay, and some people say you could just estimate that at 2,000, but we're going to use 2,080 because that's how much you should be working. So here you're going to multiply your hourly rate by 2,080, and then you're going to multiply by 2.5, and now you can find out how much you can spend on a house if you make $6 an hour. Obviously minimum wage is a lot more now, so let's just do this exercise. So 6 times 2080 gives you 12,480. Sorry, it's a little small here. Then you're going to multiply that by 2.5, and you're going to find out you can buy a house at $6 an hour, 31,200. That's how much the bank would lend you. Okay, so that's exercise B. Just follow that model. The next, exercise C, says find the minimum annual income for each of these mortgages. So in order to find the annual income, you can actually divide by 2.5. So if you're buying a house that costs $35,000 divided by 2.5, 35,000 divided by 2.5, that annual income is $14,000 a year. And finally, going to the workbook activities, they want you to find the annual income and then the maximum able to borrow. So the maximum able to borrow after you find the annual income is always going to be times 2.5 all the way down. Okay? So in order to find annual income per month, you multiply by 12. To find every 2 weeks, you multiply by 26. That's because there's 52 weeks in a year. And if you got paid every week, you would multiply by 52. But if it's every other week or every 2 weeks, you would divide 52 by 2 and be multiplying by 26. If you just get paid once a year, then that's just times 1. Your monthly, again, is times 12, and your bi-weekly would be 26. And that is the banker's rule for purchasing a home.